Hey, what is going on, Clippers fans? Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you're watching this at work. That would be a fun time, I think. We are here to talk about Kawhi Leonard being ruled out of Game 3. This is the Clips and Dip podcast. I'm Chuck Mockler, joined by Adam Miles and Will Updike. We'll get to your how we're doing in a sec, but in case you missed it, Kawhi is out after he aggravated the knee in Game 1, played through it in Game 2. He's expected to be day-to-day ahead of Game 4. The injury is not related to his previous ACL injury. That was per Woj. Where do we want to start, boys? How are we feeling? I mean, I think I know the answer to that, but
you remember when Carl Tart said, being comfortable as a Clippers fan is not a place you want to be.
Yeah.
Well, apparently he was waiting for the other shoe to drop, or we all got a little bit too comfortable, a little bit too positive. Sadly, it's just so devastating of a blow to this team that's already dealing without PG-13. To have it also be a right knee sprain is just crazy, and I'm glad it's not the ACL. That's good news. I'm curious if Kawhi told anyone after Game 1 that something was wrong, because I would think that the medical staff wouldn't let him go in Game 2 after they already got the split if there was any issue after Game 1.
That's a good call.
I wonder, but no news has come out on that.
Something had to have happened because he said we know he aggravated it in Game 1, so someone had to have known that it was aggravated.
But did they know before Game 2, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's just that the order is weird. He looked, I don't think any of us thought he looked like he had slowed down at all. Will, did you have any inclination that Kawhi was hurt after these 2 games?
No, not the slightest. Not the slightest. I thought the way he was performing was indicative of a fully healthy Kawhi, I think, like a lot of people. And the fact that it's the sprain, I mean, I would just be shocked if this was just a 1-game thing, which is
so
the part that's really difficult.
Law Murray had a follow-up in The Athletic. He said the team isn't as concerned as they were in 2021, but that expecting Leonard to return healthy.
Good, so he's not going to be out for another season.
Right. But he added, expecting Leonard to return healthy in this series seems like a long shot.
Well,
which we don't know a lot now, but
yeah,
I don't know.
We'll see.
51%, let's call it. Right? Your boy Greg had a funny comment on YouTube. He said, Adam, do you have any rocks left over? Whoever put a curse on the Clippers needs to be hit with multiple flying rocks. Shout out, Greg. So, I mean,
I'd rather not wallow in the curse talk, which is pointless and stupid. And where'd the curse come from? Who is the curse god? I hate the curse stuff. I just hate it.
We had the curse appeared on the pod last time with Carl Tart, which was always terrifying. Garrett Chorping says he's sad. That's fair. So let's take it to the other place. Kawhi's out day to day. How do we feel about that designation?
Don't know what to think about it, to be honest.
There's one day in between now and the game on Saturday that's at 12:30. So
once again, the schedule of the first round series rears its ugly head in an even worse way, where they could use even more time off, and they're not going to get that break. And so it's a 36-hour turnaround from Game 3 to Game 4, basically. It's difficult. All I know is this team has to find a way. They have to find a way. It's a new challenge for them. They've done it in the playoffs for a time without Kawhi. They've done it now the first 2 games without Paul George. Now they won't have either guy. Talked about how important role players in the bench were going to be in this series. Well, Norman Powell has to figure it out now. I mean, some of these guys have to get out of these slumps. It's a good thing that Russell Westbrook just had a 28-point game. It's a great thing that he's on the team, and you're hoping he can have a performance like he did against Memphis a few weeks ago in that first of 2 game split they had in Memphis, where you find a way to rally around Russell Westbrook and his play.
Yeah, Will, I'm having some visions. I'm astral projecting into the future a little bit here. We're going to see some very memeable defense played by the Suns, I think, to open this game on Russell Westbrook. Haggle, no haggle.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
No, I'm not saying that's not a knock on Russ. That's just what the Suns are going to do.
I guess the one thing playing in their favor is the only tape on this current iteration of the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard, without Paul George, and having Russell Westbrook in the starting lineup is one game versus Memphis, which the Clippers did sneak away with a win in that one, 141 to 132. So I guess there is that going. I think. Look, if we go the same way we went in that game, Terrence Mann is in the starting lineup, which I think is the most likely of scenarios. I think that's an interesting wrinkle. It does give you another shooter out there from deep, somebody who can kind of change tempos, who can defend well. It's interesting. And here's the thing, right? Like, it's not for one game. It's not impossible. Like, if this was going to be a one game thing, I think like. It's not likely. Like they're 51% to probably lose this game, but it's not like completely out of the realm of possibility. Them winning the series without Kawhi Leonard and without Paul George, I think is, man. I was feeling really optimistic about this series, and I was I was maybe too comfortable, as our friend Carl Tar would say.
He called it,
but seeing a way out of this series, seeing a way to the second round, without either one of those guys, I can't get there. I'm sorry. I really I can't.
That's not going to happen without the 2-1-3 connection against the Phoenix Suns. It's just, I think that's a little bit too much to ask to win a game or two. And if they get one of these two games at home, then at worst, you're tied up at 2 games apiece, or would be.
If you split
back
here,
to Phoenix.
If you split here and somehow, the PG timeline is as abbreviated as I, have gotten optimistic
as it seems to be. Yeah.
I mean, like maybe there's still, a snowball's chance in hell, but it's still like
snowball's chance in Phoenix.
Yeah.
So
I think hell is the same.
Yeah, that's simpatico right there.
There's Gila monsters in hell too.
So who's starting in Kawhi's place? Terrence, right?
I think Terrence, unless
we all.
I don't think they put Marcus. I don't think they put Marcus next to Nicholas Batum. Both those guys in the starting lineup, but I could definitely see Marcus Morris playing tonight. Robert Covington, maybe. One of those two guys is definitely playing. Maybe both.
I talked about this on Twitter a little bit, and I have a lot more I want to say kind of about the Marcus Morris Roka situation and how it relates to Kawhi and PG being out. But I think we'll save that maybe for Friday. The 3 and 4 guard lineups tonight, it's like we're gonna get a heavy dose of that. I don't think we're gonna see these wing heavy lineups because we just I don't know. Like I think we'll see it sometime.
Or Paul George being in a wing heavy lineup. That was never the blueprint for Wingstop. Not having either of those guys.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
So we're not all of what I'm saying is we're not all of a sudden going to see Ty Lue shift to the thing he already wasn't doing without both of the marquee guys who are built around, right? Like that.
Could we see a front court though of Morris, Rocco, Plumlee? Is that completely out of the question?
No.
What do you say, Rocco, Morris, and Plumlee?
Yeah.
I don't think it should be out of the question, but
yeah,
I don't know.
How does this affect the lineups? Because I feel like, once again, you have to throw out everything, every preconceived notion that you had before. Like, do we see? I mean, obviously, you see more guys with a guy down, but how much does this expand the rotation, or do we see, it still stay to a pretty tight, 10 guys, 8 to 10 guys.
So you're just adding Morris basically into that and Rocco?
Morris or Rocco, yeah. Like you just do a 1-for-1, and like beyond that, it doesn't really expand the lineups. I don't see that happening.
Because how much further does it go, right?
Yeah,
like
unless
a year after
really
that.
Well. Yeah.
Brandon Boston. Yeah, I don't think it's going that deep.
Yeah, I don't. All right, so we all kind of want Terrence to win. It's rough because I was like, oh, what bench players have to go off? And it's just everybody. And when I say go off, I mean kind of within their roles, right? Like I'm not talking a 40 or something like that. We need equal contribution, and then maybe a guy to get up close to that 35 range.
Well,
and Zoo's going to be a lot better.
If the Clippers put up 43s and shoot 40%, they're right in this one.
I think they might have to do that. I think
They literally have
taking
to.
more
They have to
threes.
take- yeah.
It has to be like a perfect game from the role
Minimum
players
40
with a
for the Clippers.
with a little bit of it's a combination of good defense, physical defense, which we have seen, and a little bit of luck. To be perfectly honest, it has to be like a perfect game from the role players with a little bit of luck.
Controlled,
and we could maybe get this one.
Controlled Russell Westbrook. I've seen people on Twitter talking about like, oh, it's time to like unleash Russ. Like, I'm just saying, it's like we need the controlled version of Russ.
What leash was he on?
Also a very fair question. But like,
other than having to sometimes give the ball to Kawhi Leonard, like I don't think he really had a red light out there.
But we just need like, you know what I mean? Though we need him to have 18 assists. I want so badly to see distributor Russ, and if he has over 12 assists, that means we're hitting those threes we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Adam, is this the best 420 you've ever had?
Oh yeah, it's 420. I forgot.
Yeah.
I want to know that my eyes look a little sleepy. I'm just tired. I'm not high. I don't really indulge.
Same here. This turned into, needing a Bones Highland game or a Norman Powell game or a Terrence Mann game.
To needing all of them at the same time.
Yeah, a T-Bones plus Norman Powell game,
Yeah.
It's got to be at least
Nico's
two guys playing above their heads, having career type of nights or close to that for them to win. I'm more worried about them almost in some ways on the defensive end. Like, it's going to be tough to score, of course, but it's going to be tough to slow down the Phoenix Suns too.
Yeah, and if the fouls start to rear their ugly head, this is going to. I mean, like this has the potential to go.
Watch
down
for Zoo, like
real quick.
Zoo, we gotta. I don't even.
Hey, get Zoo involved.
No, get Zoo involved on the offensive end. I hope they're gonna. Yeah, man. The Russ is gonna be put in motion a lot. They're gonna. Yeah, they're gonna try. They're gonna go straight at Zoo. If they get Zoo off the floor early, this one feels even more difficult.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple more minutes.
I saw this.
Where are you guys at on a potential return before Adam reads us from Twitter?
From Kawhi, I have no idea how to gauge this. Absolutely none whatsoever. It's Kawhi and his health, and he's always very private about it.
I would get Game 6.
Optimistically,
the game is at 12:30 on Saturday. I just don't think there's any way. I don't think that, right.
My thing is, if this injury does in fact like date back to game 1, I don't know whether to take that as a positive or a negative that he played another game on it. Like, I really don't know which way to go, because part of me is like, well, I mean, he already played one game on it, looked pretty damn good. So maybe it is just a 1 to 2 game thing. They're just cautious. If there's not a soreness, the range of motion is good. His cardio is still where it's supposed to be. So that, that's a positive. But the other thing is, like, I don't know, man, he already played 1 game on it. So getting a second game on the injured knee maybe doesn't seem that likely this series. I truly have no idea, which is why I was asking you smart folks. I was hoping that you would have some good news for me.
Because I'm in the same boat. Like, I don't think he's coming back game 4. I don't even think he would if it was a normal game and not a brunch battle. I find we get the alert that he flies with the team to Phoenix, but I don't know, man. I just don't, and I don't mean that in the pessimist. Like, I don't know way. Like Adam said,
how are you this bad at managing injuries? not Kawhi, obviously, but I'm saying like
it's because injuries can't be managed. Hot take. I think load management. It's like it didn't prevent anything.
Oh God, load management is there in the chat.
It has, just briefly. All right, Adam, you wanted to read something off Twitter. Sorry.
No, Andrew Greif with the LA Times, just to further how difficult of a game it's going to be for the Clippers.
All right.
Points scored or assisted by Kawhi Leonard in games 1 and 2. He accounted for 45% of their points, whether through him scoring or assisting. He also guarded KD, a team high 53 possessions. So
I was fed a stat about Russell Westbrook's defense on KD, Devin Booker, and Chris Paul recently. So I think we should be fine.
Look,
he's going to guard all 3.
He holds them at 25% again. They'll be in good shape.
That's brutal. Yeah, so that's someone's in the chat talking about how we need Terrence Mann to come back. Mook redemption game. Hey, if there was a time for Marcus Morris to win back some goodwill from Clippers fans, would it
could
not be the
happen.
game?
It could happen. Terrence Mann going off could happen. There's a lot of possibilities. This team has been built through their depth and having, break in case of emergency guys. And they've been known for next man up mentality and the stay ready Clippers for a couple of years now. And if anybody has been used to having these situations, and well, I don't know who else you could point to more than the Clippers for having to go through this. We just saw it last season where it was earlier that day in the second play-in game that all of a sudden Paul George was going to be out with COVID, and nobody saw that coming. And they played well overall. They let go of a lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so we can look back on that with fond memories and just hope it goes better. Right? Oh, cool. C-Dot Studio saying more offense around Zoo. He had a rough outing last one. He's got to bounce back probably. They're back at home. The crowd's going to be great tonight. We know that. Twitter, before this dropped, people were looking very excited for the game. So shout out to the people who are going to be there tonight. I
didn't know we were on it. We were on YouTube Live, and Garrett just says, "I am sad."
Yeah.
This derailed my entire day. This
sucks ass.
Bad news.
It's understandable, but this team can rise up with a home game like this. They can do it for a game. Can they win the series without Kawhi and Paul George? I don't believe so, but they can get a game. And like you said, this Phoenix Suns wasn't prepared for this either. This Phoenix Suns team.
4D chess. All right. Well, we're all going to see each other later at the stadium, right?
Yep.
It's going to be a great team photo or
an awesome
dip photo.
All right. Hope everyone has a good rest of your 420. And let's go Clips. If you're going to the game, be loud. And we're going to do a double dip post game. So that'll be fun. And then tripod on Friday. So hope everyone has a good rest of your day.